everyone. I am Dr. Sarika Makol, Saga Group of Institutions, Bhopal. Today, I'll be discussing about effective speech and what role it plays in anybody's life. And also, how can you become an effective speaker? We'll cover up all these things in this very particular topic, in this very particular session. And I'll also tell you about that what is the difference between speech as well as presentation. So here we go. Before going further, first of all, we should know about speech. Speech is nothing but the part of oral communication where we communicate through words. So, speech provides the study of and practice in the basic principles and techniques of effective oral communication. Basically, speeches are formal. What does it mean? It means that it has a structure, it has a proper format, it has certain rules while we are giving speech in front of the public. And also, speeches are speaker centric. It means that we are not bothered about the audience, but we have to just cover up what we want to cover. We have to prepare our topic well, we have to research on our topic, and then only we have to speak in front of the public. Basically, speech is the best way of determining how confident a person is about the information that they are conveying. Also, in a speech, a speaker tries to exert an influence or he will try to motivate the listener by making him perceive, understand, feel, or do something particular. Basically, speeches we are using to inspire people, to influence people, or to entertain people. So, that is why it shows you that how the person is confident in his or her personality. Now, moving towards features of effective speech. So, you should know that what are the various things you should keep in mind to become an effective speaker. The first and the foremost thing while speaking is your voice. Your voice quality should be perfect one. Here, what we mean by voice quality, that whatever you are speaking should be clear, your words should be clear, proper pauses should be there. It should not be like that whatever you are speaking, it is not going into the mind of the listener. So, your voice should be clear in all the senses. Then, rate of speaking, that in 1 minute how many words you are speaking. It should not be too much less, it should not be too much high, because it should be appropriate one, so that the other person would be able to understand your concept, whatever you want to speak. So the other person would be able to understand only and only if your speed of speaking is the perfect one. It should be moderate one. And the another important thing is eye contact. Obviously, if you are not maintaining a proper eye contact with with your audience, you would not be able to make them understand your concept. Whatever you want to make them understand, if you are not maintaining eye contact with the public, you would not be able to make them understand your things, and you cannot be able to connect with the people who are listening you. So, eye contact is the must. Then your facial expressions, then your gestures. Gestures means the movements of your hands, the way you are moving your eyes, your head. So that matters a lot. Then your posture, the way you stand, the way you walk, that matters a lot to make you an effective speaker. So your facial expressions should always be pleasant. It should not give any kind of negative vibes to the public. It should give the positive vibes. Then voice modulation. You should not have a monotonous voice. It should be modulated. Like you must have seen the speaker or you must have seen the music player. There's some lights are there which keeps on moving up and down, up and down. So that shows the voice modulation of the speaker. You cannot speak in the same tone. It should be variated. Only then the audience will get interested, will get attracted towards your speech, because you are showing voice modulation. You might have heard so many of politicians how modulated their voice is, how perfect their voice is while they are giving speech to the public, while they are trying to motivate the public, right? So voice modulation makes your speech effective. Then tone. Tone here shows the speaker's attitude towards reading and the subject of the message. Your tone should be courteous. Your tone should be kind, right? It should not look like that you are just giving orders to the other person. It should be polite. It should be kind. It should be like that you are just conveying your message in a that kind of attitude that you would like that other person should understand what you want to say. Then your pitch. Pitch is your highness or lowness of your voice. It should not be too much high, it should not be too much low. It should be moderate one so that it should not irritate the ears of the listeners, right? Then your volume. Volume means your voice volume should be moderate again. Pauses should be given wherever required, not everywhere. It should be in a proper speed. Then your pronunciation and accent should be correct and perfect one as per the level of your audience. Only then you can become an effective speaker. So these are the various features of making your speech effective. Now, there are certain principles also, as we are saying that speeches are formal. So, there are certain principles to make your speech effective. Into that, the first one is clarity. Whatever content you are speaking in front of the public or in front of your audience, that should be clear in your mind. The objective of giving speech should be clear in your mind and in all senses. If it is clear in your mind, only then you would be able to deliver it properly to the other person, to your listeners, right? Then concrete. It should contain proper facts and figures. Whenever you are talking about anything, so you must have that data with you, and that should be perfect one with sources, right? It should not be like that, that's from somewhere you read that, from that you read that. You must have proper facts and figures, right? Concise, it means to the point. Now, there is a difference between concrete and concise. What is that? Concise means to the point. Like, I'll just want to share with you one example. There are two sentences like, the price of washing machine is very high. And the another sentence is, the price of semi-automatic washing machine is rupees 25,000. So now in these two sentences, the sentence one can be a concise sentence which says that the price of washing machine is very high. This is to the point information. Whereas when we make it concrete by adding certain facts like the price of semi-automatic washing machine is rupees 25,000. So we add certain facts and figures into that. So that statement will become your concrete statement. So this is the difference between concrete and concise. Then the audience will only be interested if you make your speech interesting with certain stories, with certain facts and figures. You can start with certain quotes, with good quotes, with motivational quotes. Only then it becomes interesting. Audience oriented, it can become audience oriented only at the moment when you make your speech effective, when you have that facts, when it gives certain output to the audience. Only then they would be able to listen you attentively. Otherwise your speech will become boring and they will not going to listen you, right? I hope the principles of effective speech are clear to everyone. Now we go to difference between speeches and presentations. Yes, there is a huge difference between speeches and presentations, though we are using it interchangeably. Like you also say that speeches are also in front of public, presentations we also give in front of the people, but there is a difference. Now see what is the difference. Speeches are more formal and are delivered on only formal occasions, whereas presentations are usually short and less formal, and we give it very frequently. Like in the organizations, when we work in the corporate sector, we usually give presentations. In one day we can have two presentations, in another day we can have three presentations on sales parameters, on targets, anything. But speeches are given only on the formal occasions, like it can be on the inauguration of the organization, launch of any product, then any foundation day of your organization. So that is known as your speeches, whereas presentations can be given on a different parameters, on different topics. Second, demonstrations are not required in speeches, whereas presentations are always delivered with the help of demonstrations, with the help of PPTs, with the help of audio visual aids, which can be followed by query sessions from the audience. Means it's a two-way kind of a communication, whereas speeches are not always two-way. Speeches are speaker centric. That is why, because it's a one way communication kind of a thing where the speaker speaks, but the audience are not there to ask the questions. Whereas presentations are audience centric because it's a two way where audience can also ask questions from the speaker. Speeches mostly focuses on entertainment, whereas presentations has some value because it gives output on the spot. Like if we give the presentation on sales targets and achievements and the pending targets, so that gives you the output. So that gives you the value. So that is the presentations. Speeches are based on only the speaker's objectives, whereas presentations, while giving presentations, we normally focus on the needs and wants of the audience. We care for their requirements. We make our presentations as per the level of the audience or as per what audience demand. The venue for the speeches is can be an open area, whereas because the number of people are more as compared to presentations, whereas the venue for presentations are workplaces, it can be boardrooms, it can be meeting rooms, because normally the number of people in the presentation room is less as compared to speeches. Speeches has to be long enough because you have to bound or attract the public, which is very large in size. So for that, your speeches should be long enough. Whereas presentations are always to the point, they are brief as per the agenda of that very particular presentation, and they bounded by the time frame. Whereas speeches are not bound by time because you have to just attract the public, you have to motivate the public. So there is no time bound for the speeches. So these are the difference points of differences between speeches and presentation. The next is, what is the purpose of speech? As I already told you that the purpose of speech is to deliver information. You can just share the persuasive topics, means motivational topics. You can motivate the people. You can entertain the people also through speeches of yours. So I hope you would be able to understand the meaning of speeches and the importance of speeches.